Hello. Okay, chapter 2 of Hardship and Hope. The Viceroy's Order. During the 30 Years' War, 1618 to 1648, many battles were fought around the city of Prague. For 10 years, the war raged in Bohemia with the purpose of subduing the population which had rebelled against the Emperor Matthias and his successor Ferdinand II. The Bohemians had crowned Duke Frederick as king and selected Palatine as his viceroy. 1 year later, Emperor Ferdinand II dispatched an army of 90,000 troops backed by artillery and cavalry, which defeated Duke Ferdinand's feeble forces in the Battle of the White Mountain, driving them out of the country. Ferdinand's army then retook Prague and all of Bohemia. As a result of the constant warfare and the attendant economic stagnation, the government imposed heavy taxes on the Jewish community, which was forced to borrow money at high rates of interest. The allocation of the exorbitant tax led to bitter squabbles. Friend turned against friend. Recriminations and divisiveness dominated the once peaceful community, and all my efforts of the previous years to bring about harmonious relations went up in smoke. When I was told during this time that certain people were hatching a plot against the leaders of the community and even against myself, I could hardly believe my ears. I knew I was innocent of any wrongdoing and had never hurt or deceived anyone. But then, even a man as righteous as King David had enemies who hated him for no reason. On Monday afternoon, the 4th of Tammuz, 1629, a Jew came to see me and told me that the judge of the imperial court had inquired about me and wanted to discuss an urgent and confidential matter with me. I don't know where he is, the Jew replied. Perhaps he is in the study hall of the yeshiva, but, Your Honor, why do you go to see the rabbi? If you send a message to the rabbi, he'll be glad to see you. No, I must go to see him, the judge insisted. Listening to the man's story, I became very upset. I went to the shul, summoned the leaders of the community to my house, and told them what had transpired. While we were talking, a coach carrying the judge pulled up across the street. The judge alighted and entered my house. After a friendly greeting and some initial small talk, he leaned over toward me. There's a confidential matter I want to discuss with you behind closed doors, he whispered in my ear. I showed him to my study. I had a strong suspicion as to the motive for the judge's unexpected visit, since earlier that day I had received word from my friends in Vienna that the emperor had issued an order to his viceroy in Prague to take me prisoner and transport me to Vienna. Opening the conversation, I said, May I suggest, Your Honor, that you relate what you want to say at the home of the president of our community, Herr Yaakov Bash? The judge agreed, offering me a ride in his coach, but I declined, telling him, Thank you, but I'd rather walk. The truth was that I suspected he would take me to prison rather than to Reb Yaakov's house. Well, in that case, I'll walk along with you, he replied. At the house, the judge took Reb Yaakov Bash to the side and told him in a low voice, I have such high regard for the rabbi, I simply cannot bring myself to tell him how bad his situation really is. I'll give you all the details, and you'll know how to break the news to him gently. Try not to frighten him too much. You see, the emperor has ordered the viceroy to arrest Rabbi Heller, clamp him in iron chains, and take him to Vienna under heavy guard. My instructions are to take Rabbi Heller to the viceroy's palace tonight, where 10 guards are waiting to transfer him to Vienna. Reb Yaakov Bash was speechless, distraught at hearing the news. Your Honor, please don't act rashly, he said when he regained his composure. Give us time. I'll send 3 spokesmen to the viceroy to intercede on Rabbi Heller's behalf. The judge agreed. I'll wait here all night until I receive word from the deputy. Meanwhile, 3 communal leaders, Reb David Luria, Reb Henna, and Reb Yisrael Weisels, made their way to the deputy's palace, which was located in a small suburb across the Elbe River in Prague. Arriving in the middle of the night, they found the gate locked and the guards sound asleep. Determined to carry out their mission, they knocked, creating an uproar until at long last the viceroy's butler woke up and looked out the window. "What's the matter with you?" he shouted. "What's the meaning of all this noise in the middle of the night? Can't you see that everyone is asleep?" The men pleaded with him. "We are delegates of the Jewish community. We must speak to the viceroy on a matter of life and death. Please wake him up and ask him to meet with us." The butler woke up the viceroy and conveyed the message of the 3 delegates. Although still half asleep, the viceroy replied, "All right, let them come in." The delegates were ushered into the viceroy's presence. "Sir," they respectfully addressed him, "you ordered the judge to arrest our rabbi and have him brought to Vienna in iron fetters and under heavy guard. When people hear of this, they will think that if the chief rabbi is taken to Vienna in shackles like a common criminal, it can only mean that the Jews have risen up against the emperor. The populace will then vent their anger on the Jews and abuse and mistreat them, something the emperor strongly opposes. Therefore, we ask you, no, we beg you, to permit Rabbi Heller to travel to Vienna on his own recognizance and present himself to the authorities. We offer our personal guarantee that your orders will be carried out." Listening intently, the viceroy replied, "Come back tomorrow for my decision. Go and tell the judge that he should go home and come along with you to the palace tomorrow." The following day, the 3 representatives, along with the judge, received the viceroy's decision, which read, "I accept the guarantee of the Jewish leaders to the effect that the chief rabbi of Prague will appear at the offices of the Ministry of Internal Affairs in Vienna within 6 days. Failure of the rabbi to appear within the time limit will result in heavy fines and imprisonment to be imposed on members of the Jewish community." Signed and sealed by the viceroy.